There was a little bit of trouble on the streets in Northern Ireland last night. Not much, nothing nearly as bad as we've seen, but nothing in the rest of the UK. It really does seem to have quietened down, certainly for now. But following the destruction from last week's riots, communities are now beginning to start to try and rebuild. But alongside scenes of the violence came counter-demonstrations, and they showed solidarity and just basic disgust at the previous behaviour.
Yes, that was a very welcome sight. Millions of people on Wednesday night turning out to say, "Not in our name." So this is the scene at Spellow Lane Library Hub in Merseyside, which at the time of the riots was engulfed in flames after rioters stormed the building and set it alight. Local resident Debbie Stokes went viral after going to see the damage that had been done.
And Debbie joins us live now from Liverpool this morning. We're also joined by Patrick Hutchinson, who famously was captured in this image, which was shared around the world after he carried a counter-protester who found himself in harm's way to safety during a Black Lives Matter rally in London in 2020. But, Debbie, we're going to start with you in Liverpool. Good morning to you. You made a very powerful statement last week, when you said, I thought it was really eloquent, you said, Nazis burnt books. These guys went further. They burnt a library. What's your sense now that the dust is hopefully is settling? Were these mostly outsiders who came into Liverpool to cause trouble, or do you have a problem with the community?
Oh, no, not at all. We haven't got a problem with our local community, although there was no two ways about it. A few local thugs got involved, but there was a lot of people come in from miles away, got back, took the masks off, got back in the cars, ruined our community, or tried to, and then went back home to where their community was fine. I don't know what it's meant to achieve by burning down a library or trying to wreck a library and local communities, which are already quite deprived. They're already quite managed declined, I'd go as far as to say. So why come into communities like that? I understand people have a problem with immigration. I understand people are fed up with it. Government make the laws, not a library in Liverpool.
No, and of course all communities use that library, don't they? And I'm sure get a lot out of it, not least that reading and learning and all the other things that libraries these days do that help out beyond borrowing books, isn't it? They're huge centres. Your anger was sort of visceral, exactly. and I don't blame you for it. And also you said that you were shocked to find how many racists you had amongst friends. Tell me a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Well, Facebook mainly, social media, which, let's be honest, is a big problem when it's firing up protests and everything. But, you know, people jumping on the bandwagon, posting pictures of lions and really getting carried away. I'm finding it all quite exciting. They're no longer friends anymore, that goes without saying. But, you know, we need to take a positive from it now. And the positives is the money that's been raised to rebuild Spellow Library, that's fantastic. And the clean-up operation, fantastic. You can hardly see where there's been any damage. So I'm really happy about that. All I want now is for people to be able to go to work and come home or go outside without being scared.
Do you think, Debbie, and I speak as someone who worked in Liverpool for many years, as you know, on This Morning and on the local news programme before that, so I know Liverpool pretty well. And I know that it's not the kind of place to take this kind of stuff lying down. You simply don't accept it. Do you think do you think that what's happened, although it was horrible, do you think it's made the community actually stronger?
Actually, yeah, really. There was a fantastic march planned, and there should have been a protest planned at the same time. Well, there was a fantastic march planned, you know, anti-fascist march, if you like, and that was just amazing. I think 4 or 5 protesters turned out, and there was thousands of protesters. Now, we're known for being a multicultural city, you know that yourself, and that's the way we've always been, welcoming. And as I say, your problem with the immigration, then Parliament is the place to protest.
I mean, your righteous anger will be a huge tonic, I'm sure, to those who were genuinely scared to leave their homes during these times. Some members of the community fearing for their lives. We saw people randomly targeted just because of the colour of their skin. What would be your message to them? And also, how do you go about, I suppose, sending a signal to them and physically rebuilding your library and getting that symbol back up and running?
Yeah, the positive feedback that came on the back of what I said, my comments, and I was angry, and I still am angry, but the positive feedback, I'd say 95% agreed and were brilliant, and the other 5% are probably never going to agree, let's be honest. So we need to build on the back of that. It's lovely to know that I'm in the majority and not in the minority. As for the local library, the local library will be rebuilt, and it'll be built bigger, better, and it will save the community again. And that's thanks to donations from across the country.
Debbie, we think you're great. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm sure we'll talk again. Let's talk to you now. The Bible says, love thine enemy. And back in 2020, you saved yours, and the images went viral around the world. Tell us what happened that day. It's an extraordinary story.
Yeah, so to give you a brief synopsis of what happened.
Okay.
I went down there with my friends and I, got Jermaine Facey, Lee Russell, Chris Otakito.
This is the Black Lives Matter.
Well, actually, we're just members of the community.
Okay.
And we saw what was happening, and we thought, we need to go and support as, older, more experienced members of the community, because we understand that some of the younger, more volatile members can get carried away, herd mentality, and we thought, we're a bit more experienced and we've been there, and let's go and see if we can aid in any way, support them. And, we saw an altercation happening between the far-right guys at the time and the Black Lives Matter demonstrators. And then the far-right guys, they run off because they're outnumbered, and then they leave this one guy. And he's stumbling around, intoxicated. It looks like he's intoxicated, and he even looks a bit concussed at the time. And then there was this Rastafarian guy that's trying to help him, and he tries to help him down the stairs. And this is happening by Waterloo, next to the Royal Festival Hall. And as this Rasta guy is helping this man down the stairs, all of a sudden you can't see him, and there's just a sea of people. They've obviously realised that he's there, and
they're going to get him.
And they're going to get retribution, because they were hurling racial abuse at the BLM supporters, and as you know, fighting with police and doing everything they shouldn't.
Why didn't you leave him to his fate?
Because as a person, that's just not who I am. I was raised better than that by my mother, and I'm not the kind of person that's just going to stand by and watch, 100 or so people, do whatever they were going to do.
What did you do? We can see the picture, but just explain to us what you did.
So we rushed over there. We couldn't see him. We were pulling people out of the way frantically to find him, and then I happened to see him. And I just thought, what can we do here? Because if we just stay where we are, we'll all get trampled, because there was that many people. So I just had the presence of mind. I looked over to where the police were, and I thought, well, I think I can carry him over there. So I stooped down. No one knew what I was going to do, and then I merged with him on my shoulder.
Fireman's lift.
Yeah.
And when you got him to safety, what was his reaction?
To be honest, he was, like I say, he was concussed. I could smell, alcohol and stuff. So he was, heavily intoxicated as well. So he didn't know what had happened. First he would have known, he's probably seen it.
So you did that. You did that incredible gesture back in 2020. What were the thoughts that went through your head when you saw some of the scenes that we witnessed over the last week or so?
Yeah, I feel saddened, because I felt, I thought at that time, a lot of people had told me that image was iconic, and it was going to probably be like a catalyst for unity, and it wasn't. No. I'm afraid.
No.
And we still have people in this country that want to see a racial divide.
Does it hearten you when you hear people like Debbie speaking so strongly that, this is the absolute minority that are behaving in this way? Or do you still fear, that small minority causes a massive amount of damage?
No, I think, along with Debbie, who sounds lovely, and there was also a guy on LBC once that I listened to a few weeks back called Danny the Doorman, who went viral because he had a similar sentiment.
Yeah, I heard him as well.
These are people. This is what we're talking about when we talk about this country, and I think it's a minority. I think they want to be. They come across as if they're a majority or there's more of them, but I don't think...
It's like the trolls on Twitter, isn't it?
Yes.
They speak with a loud voice.
They speak with a loud voice, yep.
Can I ask you, did the guy that you said, and you may well have saved his life, did he ever get back to you?
No, we've never spoken.
OK.
That's sad,
for coming in.
isn't it? That's sad, but
you know,
that's... At least you did what you did, so you can be proud.
I'm happy that he's able to see his children and grandchildren, and I'm sure deep down he knows that he's happy that I did it as well.
Yeah, well,
You're a good man.
You're
Thank you.
wonderful human being, and it's wonderful to have you give your perspective this morning. Thank you very much
Thank you.
indeed.